So today we're at the baby show, and I'm here with Jo. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you do, Jo?
I'm a baby sleep expert. What I have done over 26 years is work with parents and families of babies that either aren't sleeping very well or they're not feeding very well, have certain issues, and so I try and help the whole household to get some sleep because sleep is really important for you as a parent, but also for your little baby as well.
Is there a common thread, reasons why people's babies aren't sleeping at night, or could it be a range of reasons?
There are a range of reasons. I think one of the main things that I come across time and time again is having a sleep prop. So a sleep prop is something that your baby has before they go to sleep. So it could be feeding, it could be rocking, it could be a lot of parents sort of take the babies out in the pram or the pushchair. And so if you're doing those before your baby goes to sleep, you're teaching your baby that's how they go to sleep, and of course they'll wake often in the night time and want that sleep prop to go back to sleep. So it's a learned behaviour.
So it's all about routine mainly then?
It's about routine, but it's also about knowing your baby and also working out when your baby's tired and not overtired. Because what tends to happen is if your baby's overtired, it means that they're going to be very grumpy, they're going to find it very difficult to go to sleep. And if they find it difficult to go to sleep, that's when you tend to start using sleep props, because you think, my baby's tired, they need to go to sleep, and so I'm either going to rock them to sleep or I'll feed them to sleep. And so also, instead of feeding them every time your baby cries, which is what you're going to be told at the hospital, which is called demand feeding, what happens is, instead of you actually listening to what your baby's doing, so your baby's going to give you lots of different signs, so feeding sounds, signs, they're going to sort of headbutt, they're going to root, but sleep sounds and signs are very different as well. So when your baby's tired, they'll do a short, sharp cry. They will also start staring into space. They'll start actually putting the hand in the fist, because when they're little, they will have this feeding to sleep because they know that feeding makes them very sleepy. But as they get older, you want to make sure that they can obviously fall asleep on their own without these sleep props. So I think when you're in a routine, you're a more confident mom because you know exactly what your baby needs. So instead of just feeding every time they cry and actually feeding them to sleep because actually they wanted to go to sleep, they didn't want to feed, you then start being more confident because you can see and communicate with your baby more. You can listen to what your baby's saying, and you can actually work out what your baby needs from the way that they're acting, the sounds that they're making, and the signs that they're showing you. So that instead of you thinking, I haven't got a clue why my baby's crying and what's happening, then you can actually say, well, I know that my baby feeds around every 3 hours. And they're crying after about an hour and a half. Well, it's not food. It must be because they're tired, because they've got a dirty nappy, because they're too hot or too cold. They might have a tummy ache. So there's different reasons that babies cry. And I think that's the beauty of a routine, is that it makes you a more confident mom because you can tell exactly the reason your baby is crying. And instead of letting them cry or getting to the point where they're crying, you are always seeing that their needs are being met before they need to get upset. So if you see the signs of hunger, you can feed them. If you see the tired signs, you can feed them, let them go to sleep. And again, you know that you've changed their nappy, and it's all in a routine. So I think it really makes a massive difference to mums to be more confident on a routine. So I'm a massive routine fan.
So you get quite a lot of people coming to you for advice and help. How long would you say it takes to, obviously, if a baby's not sleeping at night, how long can you turn that around to get them sleeping at night?
Well, I don't do rescue packages anymore, but my sleep angels do rescue packages. So they go into houses between 24 hours and 72 hours, and they can get a baby sleeping quite well throughout that time. What tends to happen is, if you do something consistently for about 7 days, 10 days if your baby's older, you can actually get your baby sleeping well. So when I go into houses, because I'm working out very quickly the reasons babies aren't sleeping, obviously with parents it takes a little bit longer. And also because of my experience, I can work out the soothing technique that the baby likes, get them to sleep so they're not crying, and also I can teach the techniques to the parent as well, and that's exactly what the sleep angels do. I think the major thing is what I found is lots of parents get to that point of wanting help at different times. So sometimes, we work with babies from 5 weeks to 15 months. Now, I have mums coming at that early stage saying, it's all going wrong. I'm worried that this is going to continue. Can you help me? I've got mums of 14, 15-month-old babies that have said they did sleep well, they're not sleeping well now, or they've never slept well, and I can't cope. So I think different parents come to me with at different times, but they all kind of reach that point of, I can't do this and I really need help.
So if you were to give 5 top tips to a new mum-to-be, what advice would you give?
I would say try not to listen to every single little piece of advice you're going to be given. You're going to be given loads of advice by everybody, but the thing is, you need to take the bits of advice that you want to be, the sort of parent you want to be, because it will all be conflicting and you'll be completely confused. So if you're going to use a book, use that book. Don't use 5 other books. If you're going to use your mum's advice, use your mum's advice. Because the thing is, I think if you do lots of advice, it just gets all conflicting and you get all confused. My second tip would be start a routine as soon as you're comfortable. Now, the routine doesn't have to be strict, and I think some parents hear the word routine and go, I don't want to do a routine. It doesn't need to be strict. It's about the flexibility of your baby and based on their natural patterns. So working out what your baby's doing and looking at the signs that your baby's making so that you can tailor-make that routine to your baby. My third tip would be probably to not worry too much about sort of what everyone else is thinking. Try and enjoy your baby as much as possible, because there's so much media interest in yummy mummies and celebrity mummies looking amazing, but they do have help, they do have staff, and that is their business. They need to look fantastic. So I think mums put too much pressure on themselves and forget that they've got this tiny baby and they need to enjoy this tiny baby, because they're not tiny for very long.
No, they grow very quick.
They do, and I think if you can, when I talk on the stage, I say, if mums can get out of their pyjamas by lunchtime, then that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's like a massive achievement. To have a shower, that's an amazing achievement.
That's what I used to find. I used to get up in the morning when the other half got up from work, have a shower while he looked after the baby, and then we're set for the day.
Yes, I think exactly. And I think the fourth one is try and have as much help in the early days as possible. If somebody's offering to do something for you, or even just take the baby a walk around the block while you have a shower or have a nap, just take that on the board, because I think also you try and be a bit of a martyr, and you want to seem to be coping and doing everything, and actually you realise, that would have been really nice, but I don't want to be seen to not be coping. So try and take as much and help that people offer you. I know my friends. My friends' friends, they all everyone made a dish for them, and so each time everyone was pregnant, they made a dish for them, and so it meant that in the evenings when they were really tired, they had some food instead of having to worry about cooking and everything. And I think the last tip needs to be about dads, really. I think what happens with dads is they don't quite know what their role is. I always start a dream feed from if you're breastfeeding, when the breastfeed is established, and then I let dads do the dream feed. And a dream feed is a feed that you give your baby before they go to sleep at night, before you go to sleep at night. And that sounds a bit strange, because you think, well, why would you wake your baby before you go to bed because they're fast asleep? The reason for that is because your baby will only sleep one long stretch in 24 hours, and you really want that long stretch to be when you're going to sleep, because otherwise they will wake up, have the long stretch between sort of 7:30 and going through to sort of midnight, and then they will wake quite often. So I think a dream feed is really good to help with that, and also when they're waking in the night time, and after the first couple of months, you can start not feeding them straight away in the night time, because then you can start just by 15 minutes pushing the feed. By 15 minutes, giving them a cuddle, rock them, and then feed them, so they're not setting their internal clock for that time. So yes, dads, poor dads. So I think that's the thing. Work as a team, be on the same page and support each other. I think that's a really important thing as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.